This episode should be thrown away. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul, and it's time for our very special hellos. Hello to Bob, Einstein, Ruby, and Queenie, Mark Williams, Sideshow Tink, Craig the Record King, Audrey, Bob, and Loretta, Jerome Luby, Matthew Street, Joe Mayo, Mark Williams, Ed Katz, Dave Waters, and Beatle Brad. Now, if you'd like a special hello, you can dedicate one to a pet, a relative, or another friend. Just leave it in the comments below, and we'll say hello in a future episode. And that's our very special hellos for today. Now, in a previous episode of the Playhouse, episode 4, Trash to Treasure, which we want to thank everyone because that is so far our second most popular episode. We talked about when does what is usually considered a disposable item, especially generally if it's a food product, when the food or the item is supposed to be used, and then the container or box that it was in naturally gets thrown away. But again, when does it become possibly a collectible, raising its value years later? And we're going to show you in this episode of the Playhouse several examples of that. But what do we usually always start with, Playhouse members? Yes, the Beatles. Now, this is the other side of collecting. Many Playhouse members may know this. Packaging, original packaging. But still, 95 to 96% of original packaging gets thrown away. And here's again an example of the Beatle Soakies. This is Ringo, of course, made by the Colgate-Palmolive Company. And here's Ringo in his original box. And this looks so nice this way. But back in 1964, well, of course, you're going to take Ringo's head off and put the bubble bath into your child's tub, or perhaps even yourself, if you wanted to have a Ringo or Paul bath. Yes, so Paul McCartney also got a Soakie. Yes, John Lennon and George Harrison didn't get their own Soakies. The only time in Beatle memorabilia history in the 60s where a Beatle item was released, but not all 4 Beatles got their own. For some reason, the Colgate-Palmolive Company thought that John and George were not as popular as Paul and Ringo. But here they are in their original boxes. Now, these boxes, we don't talk about value on the Playhouse. But normally, again, if something is in its original packaging, and it's old, and now it's considered a collector's item, yes, the Soakies in their original boxes are worth much more than if you just had the Soakies by themselves. Now, other Beatle items that normally would be totally used and thrown away, here's an example. Here's the Beatles hairspray. It's crystal clear, and it was licensed, copyright NEMS, licensed by Cell-Tab Incorporated. And for Playhouse members that may not know this, if it was licensed by Cell-Tab, that was really endorsed and licensed by the Beatles. Because Cell-Tab, which you'll find on many original products of that period, stands for Beatles spelled backwards. Cell-Tab, and then we're going to reverse it, see? Beatles, reversed. That was their little clever way of coming up with a licensed company for the memorabilia. And it says here, actually, this is pretty funny. I love reading these original cans and props. It says here, create your own Beatle hairdos. Also recommended for dry, bleached, or tinted hair. Because this was made from the Bronson Company in Chicago. Normally, again, this would be totally used and thrown away. So there's actually hairspray still in this. So for the hairspray to have lasted this long, that again is trash to treasure. Here's a very cool one. This is the Batman Fruit Punch. This is made by Homestead Dairies of Messina, New York. And on this one, you get a Batman cutout. You can fold them up. I think also, yeah. And then over here, there's a Batman mask. Of course, it is pink, which is fine. We love pink here at the Playhouse. But I don't think they were targeting this towards any particular audience. But it's fruit drink. And, you know, these cartons would always be disposed of. We got some nice Batman fruit punch. And then a lot of food items. And then the food items is, here's some I Love Lucy chocolate based on the famous episode, The Chocolate Factory. And I think even inside here is an I Love Lucy chocolate bar. Yes, here we go. Lucy's famous candy bars. I admit that the Playhouse ate this long a time ago, and I put cardboard in underneath I saved the original wrapper, put cardboard around it to make it look like that I still had a candy bar, because this is over like 20 years old. And of course, we have some more ice cream. Here's the Ben & Jerry's Elton John Goodbye Yellow Brickle Road. And this is Vermont's finest. It's chocolate ice cream, peanut butter, cookie dough, brickle candy pieces, and white chocolate chunks. But there's a nice photo of Elton. So this is, of course, trash to treasure. Back to the Beatles. When the Beatles anthology came out on home video, certain stores were offering a popcorn bag for the Beatles anthology that you could put your popcorn in, obviously, when enjoying the Beatles docuseries. And inside here, we have some Help Band-Aids that were given out at the premiere of the film. I guess, yeah, they thought of like if you needed help is on the way, that you'd need some Band-Aid containers that they pass out at the movie theater. And of course, we have some Jetsons cereal. Cereal boxes are very collectible. We're going to be showing a bunch right now. Because this is something easy. They have great artwork, great graphics here of the Jetson family. There's Judy, Elroy, over here, right? Jane, and of course Astro. This is a beautiful box, and this was done by Ralston Purina. I don't know the year, but I know that 1990. So this, yes, 1990, the Jetsons here. This wasn't on the market too long, but this was a time where a lot of they were doing interesting collectors. I really believe that they were doing the cereal for collectors. Now, and we'll show you something real fast. Around the same period, we had the Jetsons real fruit snacks made with real fruit. Yeah, I love the graphics on these boxes. And sometimes they do take up a lot of room to keep, but that's all right. Now for original work, this goes back to the early 1960s. This is a classic box. The Kellogg's OKs. Of course, Yogi Bear on the front cover, and I'm sure I can hear a lot of Playhouse members saying, I had that on Saturday morning. I remember that box. This was a very popular item. But of course, what made it even extra special in those days was you either got a toy inside, and you'd have to like dig through the cereal to find the toy, or you'd have to mail away for something. And on this one, you mailed away for the Skin Diver. We'll show you the back here. Right? Again, the Skin Diver was only 50 cents, and he was lifelike durable plastic skin diver. He's 9 inches long, harmless 3-inch plastic harpoon accurately hits target under the water. Oh, okay. So there was a harpoon that was released, and the diver comes ready to assemble. I know a lot of children were disappointed at that point. It's like, all right, they couldn't wait for their item, their diver to arrive. It's like, oh, we got to put it together. But it was only 50 cents with one box top from Kellogg's OKs. And of course, then you see, this is another thing. So then a lot of these boxes then didn't survive because who wouldn't want the skin diver? So then they needed you to cut out, well, you put your name and address and you would mail it to Kellogg's O's. Here's the address. Yes, you'd send it to box 684, Detroit 32 in Michigan. But of course, if we had cut this out to get the skin diver, well, then our 1961 Yogi Bear OK's cereal box wouldn't be complete. Here's a little, this came from Hardee's, I think, on a Flintstones promotion. Well, these, of course, would be thrown away, but now are considered very collectible. They put your burger in this. There's a Barney and Betty dancing for the jukebox. A Yogi Bear mustard. And this is from 1985. And from French's. This is incredible graphics on this container. A lot of fun. I know I was very careful when I was washing this, because the mustard is long gone. Playhouse members, don't worry. All the food products are long gone. I know Mikey Arugula sometimes asks that. Do you keep your cereal in your original cereal boxes? No, we get rid of all the food products. But I was afraid, I remember this, I can't believe it, from 1985, that if I washed it too much, of course you could wipe the graphics off. We would want to do that. And of course Yogi has a lot of things. Here's some Yogi Bear Toasty Tarts. They are frosted strawberry. Oh, and they're cholesterol free because that's good for Yogi. 6 pastries. Another just great collector box. And then for some Flintstones macaroni and cheese dinner. Fred, Pebbles, and Dino enjoying some. And the macaroni is actually shaped like the Flintstones characters by Kraft. Nice box there. A Wilma card, if you want to cut that out. But of course the Playhouse would never do that. And based on the movie, we have some Flintstones cookies. Chocolate and vanilla, this box. Based on the famous live action Flintstones movie that they did. I know they did 2 of them. We all like the first one better. Now going back to, this is very early as well. This is 1973, I believe. That the Nabisco Junior Mints Company had a promotion with Laurel and Hardy, and we're going to be doing a full Playhouse episode on Laurel and Hardy collectible items in the future. Just want everyone to know that. The Playhouse loves Laurel and Hardy. And the idea here, Junior Mints, the box, by the way, this was much smaller back in 1973. And on the back, they would show you a photo from one of Laurel and Hardy's films. And the idea was that they just put a silly little caption that says, "We ate the whole thing." But you were supposed to cut the card out again. And then it says here, yes, send in your own funny line for this photo. And if they print it on the package of Junior Mints, they'll send you $5. Now that was quite an incentive in 1973, because this was probably no more than a quarter. And then if you got your saying here on the back of the box to get $5, I mean, that was more than a child's weekly allowance back then. All right, we're going to continue with some fun cereal boxes. The Playhouse loves cereal boxes, but here, for modern times though, here's the Swanson Hungry Man box with the King of Queens offer on the side there. You got Leah Remini and the cast. That show holds up. I love the King of Queens, I must admit that. So here is another cereal box from Ralston. This is the Morning Funnies. And this just capitalized on like a morning newspaper of the funnies, which are always very popular in newspapers. And we got General Mills came out with the cereal edition of Monopoly. Great graphics there. These again did not last on the shelves more than maybe a year. So this is like the only box that they did. And this was 1995. So by 1996, Monopoly cereal generally was gone. And Playhouse members, please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, here, this company, all right, really, they went all out for Bozo cereal. They made 3 collectible boxes here. In 2001, Larry Harmon Productions, and it's Larry Harmon's Bozo, and here are the fruit whirls, and he's saying the famous "Wowie Kazowie." Looks like Carmen Miranda right here, and he's just had great graphics. I think he might have done this himself, because I don't see another company on these of who manufactured. But we have the Bozo Frosted Flakes. These are for the 50th anniversary. And of course, then we also have the Honey Note Toasted Oats. Whoa, Nelly. And now it's time to check the comments bowl. If you'd like to be in the comments bowl, that's all you have to do is leave us a comment. And this is really at random from previous comments. And we're going to pick one. And this is in regards to episode 23. Do have your bazooka, Joe. And member Mike Malik commented that in the early 60s, he operated a ride service in his hot rod go-kart, and he charged 1 bazooka comic to push them around the corner. Well, thank you, member Mike Malik. And again, if you want to be in the comments bowl, that's all you have to do is please comment, subscribe, like, and share. But for now, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.